Hello and welcome back once again to Nicole Gripley's Top 5 Most Wonderful LEGO Legacy Heroes Unboxed. Now I'm coming to you with a special one this time for licensed IPs, that is licensed intellectual properties. Basically the stuff that LEGO does not own that somebody else does own, like movies, games, books, whatever, that sort of thing that they do. Kind of like think Star Wars, the superheroes, Lord of the Rings, stuff like that. This is my list of my top 5, I guess, sort of crossover IPs that this game could get. Now, this is my own list. These are the ones that I would like to see the most, and I think might be the most interesting to see in the game. There are ones that aren't going to be on here that'll probably be high up on other people's lists, but to me, I'm just not that interested in them. So I chose the ones that I chose here. So to get started, we of course had honorary mentions. Now these are the ones I didn't include. First up is the LEGO movie stuff. That is, or was, owned by Warner Brothers. I think it's now owned by Universal Pictures, although there's also some like question marks there with like who all you'd have to pay and everything. Basically, the LEGO movie characters, while being LEGO, are actually owned by the people who own the rights to the movies, so those are a little bit harder, but that's kind of like a given. I feel like those would have been probably the first ones I would have went after getting into this game, but hey, I'm not in charge, so I didn't get to decide that kind of stuff, but I just kind of kept them off the list because that would be like an easy number one, because hey, it's a LEGO movie and this is a LEGO game. Next up, because we have superheroes, because I like superheroes, more of a fan of DC myself than Marvel, but hey, I take a little bit of both of those. DC maybe seems a little bit more likely, because I know Marvel has a game similar to this, so they might not be as up on doing it, although I can see them still possibly doing it. But hey, I just like superheroes, but that's a little bit more out there, because it's a little bit bigger. Also, 2 Ray weird picks I'd be down to see would be Lego Cars or Lego Thomas and Friends, just because I would love to be able to have a minifigure that is actually a vehicle that just runs people over. And I also will admit, for the purposes of this list, I tried to stick away from any like really big theme. So while DC superheroes might have been really up there, there's just so much there, and it's so big and long running, and might just be a little bit of a harder IP to get. So I decided to keep those off, because like Star Wars, I could see easily be a top one, but for lots of people, but for me, it's just like it's almost a little bit too big. Might be a little bit too hard. Wouldn't be able to please everybody. But first up, at number 5, we have Speed Racer. Odd pick, one I easily forgot LEGO did. Watched some of this when I was a kid, some of like the old show. It was okay. Also, I would just really like to have some sort of like vehicular theme in the game, and this would probably be the easiest way for us to get it, since LEGO doesn't really have too many minifigure scale like racing themes. They had that whole Racers line, but lots of those weren't really scaled for minifigures. For the cast for this, of course, would have to be Speed Racer himself. Racer X, which I guess spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched the movie or watched the regular show or whatever, is actually his brother. His older brother, who they thought was dead. Then, of course, there's his little brother who had like a monkey sidekick, which was kind of interesting. Definitely would include that in here. I believe that was his girlfriend's next. Don't honestly remember too much about her. And then the father. They're just like the most likely candidates. I mean, you could maybe pick some of the other races, and that would be solid ones. But I feel like this would probably be like the good core one. I think they'd all be kind of interesting, because you have like 2 different races there. The Racer X, his brother's also like a secret agent, at least in the movie. This would probably be based off of the movie, because that's what I think, if I'm not mistaken, LEGO based most of their sets off of. I think little brother was kind of like a mechanic with his monkey. I'm really not sure what he do with his girlfriend. And his dad, I think, was also like the team manager, kind of something there. Don't fully know what you do with all of their kits, but I think there'd be a couple interesting things there. I think the little brother with his monkey would be very cool. You do lots of interesting things with the vehicles with Speed Racer and Racer X. And the dad being a manager, if I'm remembering it correctly, would be kind of interesting. As for sets, I think really you just kind of include one here, kind of just like the the Speed Racer. Oh, I don't remember actually what his vehicle was called, but like the one he drove would probably be the one I would include. And oddly that would keep with the current theme. Well, not as much of a theme, but right now we have the Ghostbusters Ecto 1. I guess it's like, here's a vehicle from all the different themes. And it might be kind of interesting. Although if you want to do like a full-on set, maybe do the one I have over there on the right, where it's him and one of the other races that's not included in this list, just one of the people from the movie. Yeah, you have 2 vehicles like that. Might could do something for like bad guys, cause you think Racer X is kind of like a little bit of a bad guy, something like that. I don't know. Could do something there with some interesting tags, but probably just maybe have his vehicle there by itself, and that would probably work kind of the best for the set for this crossover IP thing. As for the story of this event, I would probably have it be where like it's all based around, of course, obviously racing. Kind of introduce some of the stuff for the figs that I want to go fast. So like Reed's all about speed, so probably have him throw in here with the race. Maybe make it also be like a follow up to the Woo Master event and the Primo Master event, and maybe kind of bring in the pirates and the ninjas. Also wanted to have like a rematch of a race instead of a boat race, to like land speed race or something. It would also be fun probably see a bunch of Ninjagos show up and them just mentioning all the different vehicles they have or something, because you know they have tons of different vehicles. Kai has like 85 different bikes. Maybe have some fun mentions of that. As for the follow-up to the Primo event, probably have them like racing through the castle area, and then Brutus wants to team up with Primo to actually enforce some laws and other things in his region. It's like an interesting kind of follow-up to that event now that Brutus is being annoyed by them. Maybe also throw in some other interesting people of like Governor and Storm, since Storm rides a horse into her battle, and Governor rides a donkey into his. I don't know, might be some interesting fun stuff you can do there with both of them racing on their animals in the land speed race. I don't know. I'm not as familiar with some speed racer stuff, but I would love to see some sort of like racing themed characters in the game, and I think this would be the best way to get them. And I think the event could be fairly funny. Next up, of course, is Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, or I guess technically Nickelodeon Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, because that's part of the branding. But yeah, this is just a theme I thought was kind of always interesting. Never got super into it, but there was like always a new show of it when I was younger, and there's always like a new show now. It's just like never get into it because you know this going to be rebooted in like 3 years. But I actually kind of like this theme. I like the different minifigures they had. Of course, easy pick for this team would be the 4 Turtles. You would have to have all 4 of them. Then for a 5th, Splinter, which I believe that was the name of their like rat sensei. Maybe him, maybe April O'Neil, she's kind of cool. She would get, I guess, a little bit more diversity in there with that addition of another female minifigure. Or you just go Shredder, because Shredder's kind of cool. I mean, he'd probably have a cool kit. He looks cool. I think it'd be funny having him do some stuff with Garmadon. Either of those 3 figs, I could see putting them in there. And honestly, Shredder and Splinter both seem like they could easily be master figs. April, I guess, could be, so you'd have her because she's a little bit different than the Turtles. But I think that would be kind of interesting. I think all 3 of them could kind of work. And also, as for the Turtles, I like that each have different weapons, so I think that all of them could work. Have some different kits or different attack animations, since they all have some different stuff. You could also probably pull some things from the different, like, back catalog of other stuff that they did. I don't know who would really be what of all the different, like, roles, because you'd probably want a tank. I mean, I might see Shredder being a tank or something with all of his, like, pseudo samurai armor. But yeah, I don't fully know which. I don't know, but maybe Mikey could be the healer because he likes pizza. I mean, Chef throws around pizza slices to heal, so something similar to that. As for roles, I am sorry, I don't really remember the names. Well, I remember Mikey was the one like pizza, and Raphael was the angry one, which red guy. I don't remember which of the other 2 was Donatello or Leonardo, I believe. I don't remember which was which. But the leader would probably have him get role model. The other one, I believe, was like kind of some of the gadget inventor, at least on some of the shows I watched. So you probably could give him Techie. I don't know about the other figs really, although you do have to do like a little bit of a stretch with some of these. And I do plan on doing a follow-up video on some of these different IP themes for like how it actually make them out. But yeah, so those two I'm kind of sold on. Splinter might be magical. He seems a little bit more almost magical-ish. Sensei powers maybe. Shredder would probably be wanted because he's a bad guy. April, I don't know. As for set, I feel like one of these two like vehicles, and yes, I know one of these is from the movies, which some people don't like. I personally like them, but I honestly think the set based upon the movie looks a little bit better than the other one. I guess oddly feel like the same way about the vehicle. Something you could look at and kind of think, okay, yeah, that's Ninja Turtles. That's not just like a full-on playset, or some of the other ones look kind of weird for some of the smaller things. I'd probably pick one of these two. I could see going for the one on the left. That's more based off the Nickelodeon series at that time. Although I think the one from the movie looks a little bit better. And just have them give birth, of course, to all the turtles, and whichever would be the fifth fig we would get. As for story, well, obviously you have to do something with Ninjago because it's very like Asian ninja inspired stuff. So you'd have to have a decent bit of things with them. Maybe also have them have some funny run-ins with some costumed figs, so they think they're like costumed. Of course, some funny things with Great White. Other than that, I don't know. Maybe some run-ins with the city figs where like. Somebody's trying to get them captured by like animal control or something. Maybe you're running in like a castle area where they think like dragon-ish, something like that. Other than that, I don't really have too many ideas of what you would do for a story for them. Just besides like, hey, Ninjago. Obviously they're gonna have run-ins with Ninjago because they're all like ninjas and everything. Well, the Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles. So, of course, some interesting run-ins there. And I feel like you're gonna have to have Shredder team up with Garmadon, or at least fight against Garmadon if you have, of course, Shredder in there. Number 3 is another Nickelodeon series, and this is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, this was a very interesting one because there's only 2 sets from this whole theme. And there's very limited figs. So my choice of 5 figs here is Aang, Katara, oh gosh, I would say Ahsoka, but no, Sokka, and then Zuko and Momo. Why Momo is the only other figs to choose from were generic Firebender soldier, Fire Nation soldiers. There's a couple different like varieties of them, but it's just there wasn't anybody else to choose from. I know like somebody like Toph or Uncle Iroh or somebody like that would be pretty cool. They didn't exist in any of the sets. You don't even have Appa in a set too. So I kind of chose these. I kind of feel like for the Master Fig, maybe have Momo, similar to how you had Slimer there at the end of the Ghostbusters one. Or maybe have Aang, but Aang's kind of like a little bit of a title character of Avatar, so maybe have him be a little bit sooner. I don't know, I was always kind of interested how you chose which ones to have unlocked where. But these would be my figs. Aang, he's an interesting one, because I kind of want him to have Wanted. Because he is being hunted, I think that would be interesting, add kind of like a good guy to the Wanted category. But I could also see him being magical, because, he's the Avatar. Although at the same time, I could see all Benders being listed as magical, so Katara and Zuko. Probably not Momo, I don't know. There was some weird times where Sokka thought he was magical, so maybe you did it for him too. But, so I feel like there's a couple of different interesting ones you can add to Aang. Katara, I definitely feel like would be more so magical, and I would have her be like a healing focused magical character, although have some attack too because she was also good at attacking, but she was supposed to be like an excellent healer, so I probably would embrace that with her. Sokka, he attacked boomerangs. I mean, he got a sword later, but this is all like some early season 1 stuff that I probably would include some stuff from later on into the show for this, so maybe give him a sword too. Might have to give him a role model, as weird as that is, because he did kind of become like a leader as the show progressed, so that might kind of fit for him. Momo could also just be wanted because people kept on capturing him. He was at one time supposed to be the last of his species or something along those lines. Animal, I mean, there's not really much other stuff with that, but I could create some new tags that could work there, because I kind of felt like it'd be interesting if there was like an animal tag, if you had some Chima stuff, some other things there. Zuko, I don't know, maybe wanted, because he's like the traitorous prince, kind of something. I don't really have too much to go on, really, for him. He wasn't exactly maybe later on in the show, he got turned on all the bad people, so you might could give him role model-ish too, or something. I don't know, I don't feel like there's really too many tags that are currently in the game that really fit well with him. Also, for Katara and Sokka, you might give them both chill, because they were both like from the Arctic, so that might kind of work for them. Although I feel like if you gave it to one, you have to give it to the other. Although maybe you could just give it to Katara, because she could also do some ice stuff too with water. Yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of weird the precedent set by GB of not all of them having Spooky, when I feel like it could have fit easily for all of them to have Spooky. But there's some like interesting stuff you could do here with some of these different figs. As for the sets, here's the only two sets they had. You had was supposed to be the Air Temple from where Aang, I think, met Momo for the first time, like early on. Although it also has a Firebender tank, very very small there. But you have that, although to me it's not very recognizable. It might be like a decent scale though for the set. And then you have the Firebender ship, which was Zuko's from like episode 1 and 2 of the show. I think that one could be very interesting. It would look kind of cool. Might be a little bit bigger than they would want some of them to be. Maybe put it a little bit further in the back, but that would kind of keep with some of the like precedent, at least I'm setting up, of kind of choosing a vehicle. If like the vehicles kind of stand out, I think that one might look kind of cool and could do some interesting stuff. Maybe a little bit more than the Air Temple. That doesn't really look much like an Air Temple to me. But that's just my own picks. I would probably choose the ship because it looks a little bit cooler, look cooler for display. As for the like event for this, I've actually started kind of working on a basic write-up of it, which I will do at a later point in another video. But the gist of it is, I was thinking like Aang would probably be one of your first like freebie unboxed figs, and the little story there would be him being woken up by either Kelvin or Aurora, and have like another person on there with them, either Cold or somebody else from City with Aurora, and have that kind of be like a sort of redo of Sokka, why do I come from him Sokka? Sokka and Katara finding him in the ice, something like that, be the ice planet, or an Arctic explorer finding him and going on a little journey there to try to save a captured waterbender, and at the end you find out the waterbender is actually Nia, and have some little funny stuff there with that. Then maybe Sokka is for the next unboxed one, and have him have some stuff maybe with some pirates or something. It's like a reference to when Zuko worked with or hired some pirates. Maybe kind of have that be his like firebender army. Either pirates or have the Imperials, maybe a little bit of both, kind of working for Zuko in this event, and this little section, have him do some stuff. And then for the like brick pace, maybe you do some stuff with Ninjago, because I feel like you'd really have to have these figs meet the Ninjago characters, because it's like a lot of crossover. Master of Water Ninja and Katara's Waterbender, Zuko a Firebender, Kai a Fire Ninja, Master of Fire, Aang Master of Everything, Wu kind of Master of Everything. Some interesting stuff there, some fun crossover. Also maybe Katara have her meet Zane so that she can do both ice and water. Might be a little funny stuff there. Maybe have Zuko team up with Garmadon, even though I kind of am tired of having the Ninjagos use the main enemies, but like, hey, I feel like it kind of fits here. And then maybe at the end for the Master of it, when you go to like unlock Momo is you actually have them rescuing him from the pirates who, because of the earlier events, know that he's a rare species or something and has captured him to be able to make some money off of him. And so you're now fighting against them. Or maybe something also to do with like some Imperials showing up, and maybe this will be in the previous event. But since Zuko's now maybe good in the event, they've now turned on him like the Fire Nation did. Some interesting stories like that kind of reference a whole bunch of things from throughout the show, and I think there would be lots of funny moments there. Like I might almost have a little moment where it like sort of ships Aang with Nia in like a little funny, cheeky sort of way, as like she being a better waterbender than Katara or something. Just something kind of funny there. Next up is Jurassic World. Now, why am I picking Jurassic World? Well, I really like dinosaurs, and there's only I think 3 other ways we'd probably get dinosaurs into this game. That is Dino Tax / Dino 2010, which was just slight differences based off of if you bought it in America or Europe. Dino, which was pretty nice, although not. I don't know if there's too much you might could do there. It was really different figs. And then there was a little bit of a dino wave on Adventurers, although I don't know if they'd really focus too much on that. So I feel like this would be the best way to actually get some sort of dinosaurs into the game in a rather quick manner, because those other themes I don't think are too high up on the list of like, yes, we got to include those. As for figs, this is probably the hardest one, because while I did say Jurassic World, and there is a very like distinct difference between Jurassic World and Jurassic Park branding. Although I think lots of Jurassic Park stuff has just been moved under Jurassic World now. There is some distinct differences there, and LEGO has mostly done stuff based off of, at least physically for the sets, based off of Jurassic World, and they've only released 2 Jurassic Park sets recently, although they did have a little bitty like mini wave thing, or it was a studio set for Jurassic Park 3 way back in the day, which might be kind of fun to reference that in some sort of way. But so there's like an interesting mix of figs. You could choose maybe 5 figs from just the new movies, 5 figs maybe just from Jurassic World, which I think might have been the better regarded of the newer 2 movies. You could choose 5 figs from just Jurassic Park, and kind of reach out, I guess, some more of the older fans there, or do a little bit of a mixture between some newer and some older movies there. So I just kind of include a couple different selection of figs, and it would be kind of cool. Up top, I do not remember her name, but I know it was Bryce Dallas Howard's character. I think Owen Grady / Chris Pratt. Loved him. I feel like he's kind of the most famous Jurassic Park character now, so I feel like there's no way you could do this without having him. I believe the next one's Wu. I feel like you kind of have to include him too. He's in the old ones and the new ones. He'd be the perfect kind of like bridge character there. You could have him reference both things. Down at the bottom, I believe it's Alan Grant, Ellie Slater-ish. Ian Malcolm, of course, definitely the one with his shirt open. You'd have to include that one. And John Hammond, I feel like you kind of have to include John Hammond too. I feel like he'd have maybe the master fig. Is it like the kind of brain / wallet behind all of the stuff originally? Well, you also there at the right have my man ADU Soldier, security guy from the Lego Dimensions wave. Just a random person. I still can't believe they included him in that game, but hey, I loved him. I thought he had a really awesome design, and I kind of like using him. He was like my go-to character. He just looks so cool. But there's just kind of lots of stuff you can include here. And there's lots of interesting different tags here, like Ellie Slater, if I get that name right. I believe she's supposed to be like a veterinarian-ish or something along those lines. So you might could have her be a healer. Dr. Wu does some genetic stuff. Maybe make him a healer, or they also make him an attacker with all of his hybrids or something. Maybe have Hammond be a healer and have him just throw money at the problem and make it better. Owen, I think, would be a very interesting character with all of his different attacks. Have him maybe do something with Blue and the Raptors. You could have that be an ultimate. I could see you making Wu attack somebody, have him pull out the gun, and have the so the Indoraptor come out and attack. Or you could also have him maybe have the Indominus Rex as an ultimate. I feel like for Bryce Dallas Howard's character. I just don't remember her name. I remember the actress's name more so than that. Maybe have her do the scene from the end of the Jurassic World movie where she's luring the T-Rex with the flare. I feel like that might not be too hard to recreate in this game, and have her like lead it towards the enemies for like an ultimate. Also, they just have John Hammond have an ultimate and have like a whole bunch of different dinosaurs just like charge at the enemies and attack them. Just use a whole bunch of the different models from throughout the different sets or something. That could be a good way to kind of reference a whole bunch at one time. Maybe more of them attack depending on the more characters you have. I feel like you can kind of do that for a little bit for all of these ultimates. But I feel like there's just like a really nice spread here, and I'm looking forward to making a video on this later, going over maybe like 4 or 5 different possible team comps I have in mind at the time. I feel like there's a whole bunch of different ways to do this with all new, old, mixture of both, including Fallen Kingdom, because that's kind of the worst movie of the series to me, so I'll be okay if we didn't touch any of those characters. But the Indoraptor could be cool to have whoop out the gun and have it target the enemy for that. I don't know, super cheesy, but hey, it might work well in this game, even though it doesn't make much sense logically in the movie. But as for the set, there's also lots of different options here. I know it would be way too big, like the gate up top right, way too many pieces. But I was thinking maybe the T-Rex, the brick-built T-Rex, I'm still sure that's way too many pieces there too. But instead of having like a couple pieces of like the kind of pre-made T-Rex you see over there on the left, top left, that might look kind of cool to have that in the background. I feel like it really represents the theme well. Top left, I just have a meme pic of the T-Rex mech they had from one of the actual like Lego original like waves for Jurassic Park or Jurassic World. I think that'd just be kind of funny to see, because it's such a weird thing for them to have included. But for some more serious pics, I feel kind of likely. You have that little truck thing on the bottom left. I believe that's supposed to be from the scene where they were leading the Raptor pack to go attack the Indominus Rex, and of course you have a couple of the Raptors along with it. Maybe just include the vehicle, maybe the bike too, some of the other little stuff. I don't know. I don't know if the Ecto 1 actually included any of the extra stuff that came with it, so I don't know if you would here or not. But that would keep with the theme of the vehicles for the stuff that I'm kind of doing, and I guess it's the most iconic of the ones we got, because sadly we just didn't get any of the like classic Jeep or the tour guide vehicles from the original movie. I feel like those two would probably be the most like iconic vehicles, but I just don't believe we've actually got those in the sets, unless maybe it's from the studio's theme, which I don't think we got that. But for like the most iconic vehicle that's actually from like a scene in the movie I kind of remember, I feel like that one. I feel like a bunch of the other vehicles are kind of like made up, you never really saw them in the movie, and I don't remember that too much off the top of my head what the vehicle looked like, but I do remember them driving that down with the Raptors kind of following around, and you had Chris Pratt on his motorcycle. That might be a decent one. Other two ones, while those aren't exactly, I think, Raptor pin, I think maybe the one on the far right is supposed to be a Raptor pin, and it's like extremely small, so I never really got those. I feel like the Raptor pin is kind of iconic, and either of those two could kind of work, even though the one on the middle is not actually supposed to be, I think, a Raptor pin. It kind of looks more like one, so you might could include that as like a small kind of miniature build, but still kind of feels like, yeah, I remember them having those type of holding things in the movie. So I think maybe one of those two could work kind of well too, to represent some stuff that people might remember from the movie, even if it's not the most memorable. It still kind of looks at it and like, oh, yeah, that's I think from Jurassic World. So I think those two could possibly work well. I know that's breaking the trend of like I'm doing a vehicle, but I think either of those two could look really nice. Now, as for the story here, there's not too much of a super good one I can think of immediately. Now, maybe have it something like they're looking for the dinosaurs escaped or something. I think it might be interesting maybe have one of the stories involve them going to the castle area and trying to capture the dragons from the Dragon Knights of like Barnabas and Magisto. something like that. It could be kind of funny. I think if you include John Hammond. I think it'd be kind of interesting if you had a little bit of a story with him. Maybe hiring the Imperials to set him up with a new island to make a new park on, and have some funny things going on there. Maybe have something to do with like him driving off the natives on the island. I think that all kind of came up in the Jurassic Park game from Telltale. But maybe do something kind of like that. Could be an interesting reference there. And then maybe for an end thing, have like the pirates have been attacking ships transporting amber to the island. That was supposed to be valuable because he wants it. And then, or maybe even have like Yuppie be the one behind it, hiring the pirates to go steal it because he thinks it's valuable. And at the end, they explain that you have to do all the science stuff to bring the dinosaurs back to life from the amber, and you make a park out of it for the children, all this stuff. And then you just have Yuppie give up because it's too much work and effort. He just thought the amber was extremely valuable. Something kind of funny like that. Maybe also have a little run-in with Ninjago, because they have some dragons and some other creatures over there. Like, it's just a whole bunch of misunderstandings of them trying to track down the creatures that escaped from maybe Jurassic Park / Jurassic World, and then just running into everybody that has anything to do with some creatures. Would also be kind of fun if they ran some of the costumed minifigures, but I guess the only one that really works there right now is the chicken suit guy. But that's kind of a little bit of a stretch, but I don't know. He's a feathered raptor, maybe? I don't know. If we had the dinosaur suit guy, I think it would work perfectly, them trying to capture him. But there's just not too much really to go on. Maybe Great White's getting captured because they think he's an escaped Megalodon, I think was the name of the giant sharks or something. Just a whole bunch of kind of things like that, and maybe something about them trying to set up a new island or something. Some little like funny bits there. Now for the winner, this was an easy one for me when I heard we were getting Ghostbusters, and I thought like, hey, what would I want kind of the most? Scooby Doo. It has a very easy 5-person squad. You have Shaggy, Velma, Scooby, Daphne, and Freddy. A solid 5-person pair there. Sad we can't include like one of the classic not enemies, but mysteries they solved, people they unmasked, whatever. Because they had some really nice ones in the sets. I really like the pumpkin-headed guy, awesome piece. But I feel like these 5 would be a pretty good one. Although the only bad thing is I feel like this kind of expands upon Spooky in a kind of big way. Assuming we get them all Spooky, but I kind of feel like they all kind of almost need it or deserve it, like all Ghostbusters kind of do. But as for other tags, I'm also working on a little bit more of a thing here. There's a whole bunch of different ones I feel like you could do. But I kind of feel like, I don't know, could Scooby-Doo be wanted? Because, like, what's new Scooby-Doo? You want to know what's up with him, so he's wanted. Magical, he's a talking dog. Maybe Fred could be role model, cause, hey, he's the leader of the team. Velma might be techie, because she does a little bit of some like tech stuff with some computers nowadays, although you might also give Fred techie-ish. If we go with the Mystery Inc. version of him, he made all sorts of crazy traps, which is what I would do for his like attack animations, would be having a whole bunch of traps with him. He might could get techie. Daphne could maybe be role model because she has a bunch of money, she's pretty fashionable, and they're kind of trying to make her smarter now. Or maybe have her wanted because they used her as bait, or maybe Shaggy and Scooby because they used them as bait. Shaggy could be kind of chill because of reasons. Maybe also have him be magical. I don't know, a whole bunch of different things you could do here with these different figs. Probably I'd have like Fred be an attacker with some trap type stuff, or maybe they'd even be tagged like support because he might like debuff the enemies more so. Maybe have Velma or Daphne be the healer, although I feel like Velma being a little bit more support and like spotting weaknesses in the enemies, maybe removing stealth with her like magnifying glass and I found a clue, stuff like that, maybe inflicting vulnerable or debilitate on some of them. maybe I can't remember who back in the day used to do the Scooby snacks. I think it was Daphne did Scooby snacks, or ask if they would do it for Scooby snack. Maybe have her give them Scooby snacks to like heal, or maybe have her throw money at the problem to make them heal, or maybe have the Scooby snacks just be a little bit of a buff thing. Maybe they don't really have much of a healer. I don't know. Scooby and Shaggy might be either an attacker or something like a tank. Maybe even Velma, maybe even Daphne could be a tank with like, hey, you're using her as bait, and like when she reaches maybe below 50% health, she like stealths to get them to stop targeting her for a little bit or something. I don't know, maybe even she gives herself hardy. A bunch of different possibilities you could play around with there, and I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail in a later video I have planned. As for the set, I feel like there's only one thing to do here. It has to be the mystery machine. This of course keeps track with doing vehicles. I don't know if you would include the tree with this particular set in game, but hey, I feel like you just kind of have to have the mystery machine being the like set of the Scooby Doo gang. I mean, there's just no other one that makes more sense. As for the story here, I like maybe having them like investigating a mystery. I've started like a little bit of basic work on this, but I'd kind of like it maybe to be based around, and if you could make it long enough, like each different section is supposed to be them investigating a different like mystery, but have it be kind of based off of like a classic villain of theirs. Like you might could do one based upon, I can't remember what it was like. No, was it Billy? Eddie, something like that. The robot, like the classic robot on the like carnival pier from back in the day. Have that be done with maybe a clockwork robot, demolition dummy, maybe some of the other techie figs. Have that be like one of the mysteries. They think it's that robot. And maybe of course have one with like, of course, Ghost is like the classic sheet overhead ghost, and of course Zombie could be another classic one. You could have Willa appear as just like a classic witch for them to kind of track down and try to unmask. Trying to think of any other good ones. I mean, you might have Gamadon just show up just for fun for one time as like a like samurai ghost evil thing. I don't know. Great White could just be like an evil shark dude. Of course, the costume figs, have they go after them. Maybe think the chicken suit guys harassing a town dressed as a giant chicken or something. And I feel like at the very end of all of this, they would have to like capture one of the people. Maybe they had this like at the end of everything, like they capture them, try to unmask them, but they're just actually the thing. Like nobody is zombie, zombie's just zombie. But then whoever's like the last one they unmask, it turns out it's some of the people from like the city faction. Like maybe it's Sal, and he's tired of cleaning up after them, of them trying to capture all of these guys. So he dressed up as so and so to stop them. Just a whole bunch of little like funny shenanigans like that of them constantly trying to capture monsters or whatever, but they're actually like not monsters, or like are actually a real monster like zombie. Like zombie is nobody dressed up as a zombie. And maybe some misunderstandings of them thinking the thing is somebody from their past. Like I said with the robots, they think some of the robot techie-ish figs in this game are that robot from that classic like season 1, I think, episode of Scooby Doo. So it's lots of like very interesting stuff like that you could do here. And of course we have got like monster fighters or some more other things like that. Maybe throw in like a Dracula or a mummy or some other things like that, depending on what else is in the game at the time. But I feel like that would have to be the story. And maybe each one is like a different part of the gang investigating a different mystery, maybe by themselves, and at the end it has them all meet up to investigate like one final mystery. That's really all I have for my top 5 most wanted licensed IPs. I would love to hear what y'all would want. Because I know everybody has their own things. Like, I'm not that big of a fan of Harry Potter, but I know a whole bunch of people would be down for Harry Potter. Some people want SpongeBob. I don't really personally care too much for SpongeBob, so it wouldn't do anything for me adding them in. Pirates of the Caribbean could be kind of cool, I guess, depending on which movie you added in. Like which villains too. Davy Jones, that'd be a really cool minifigure to have in the game. Lord of the Rings might be kind of a good one. You could add some more like fantasy elements to kind of ish under Castle. They probably wouldn't actually get the tags, but some cool things there. I kind of same with Pirates of the Caribbean, adding in some more pirates, so they probably wouldn't be tagged pirates, but you might add them in as bucks for some more Buccaneer figs for maybe Forbidden Island ish. Might be some stuff there. I think those all could be kind of some interesting ones. But I'd love to hear what would you want the most. Would you have any like super random picks? Would you maybe have some the same as mine, but you'd want them like a different order? What makes you want those figs the most? Like, look, I don't care too much for Speed Racer, but I would love to have some racing figs, so that's kind of the main reason they made my list. Do you have something different? Like, do you not care anything at all for Jurassic Park, but hey, you would want some dinosaurs, so those are like number one on your list too, or something like that? Just let me know. I'd be super excited to hear about it, and I would love to discuss this with y'all in the comment section below. So until next time, it's Tor Gripply signing off. Goodbye and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.